Hey there, in today's video, I'm going to review the Tokyo Marathon 2025. I'm making this video because I ran the Tokyo Marathon in 2025. Previously, I made a preview video. This is the review video. As always, this video might be long. There are chapter marks down below, so you can skip on through to the bits you might be interested in. In this video, you will see some of this, some of this, some of this, yes, some of this. Let's get going. I left the house really early in the morning, 2:30 a.m. for a 5 a.m. flight taking off to Frankfurt with Lufthansa. Landing in Frankfurt, it was really foggy, but yeah, got to see some of the 747s. We were going to fly on the 747 Frankfurt to Tokyo. We flew business class on Lufthansa and we're on the 747, downstairs on the flight over, upstairs on the flight back. We flew in business class. It was a stretch, another financial stretch on this trip, but it was worth it in terms of arriving with your legs not feeling badly beaten up. The cabin on the Lufthansa 747 on this particular one is a bit outdated. They've got a new cabin coming, but yeah, it was still very comfortable and it was great looking down. It was a sort of 13-hour flight from Frankfurt, 2 hours from Dublin to Frankfurt. But yeah, you got to see the landscape changing, the mountains, the sea. At one point looking down, I could see a plane flying below us. Saw lots of Japanese golf courses. They must have an obsession with golf in Japan. I think they do, but we saw lots of golf courses. And then pretty soon, the buildings got more dense. We could see urban areas. And yeah, we were landing at Tokyo Haneda Airport. Before you arrive in Japan, it's a very good idea to go to the website, visit Japan Web, and fill out your details. It'll help you with customs, immigration, and also taxation if you're exporting tax-free goods, that kind of thing. You get a QR code. It'll make life a lot simpler when you arrive into Haneda or Narita Airport. There are coaches, limousine coaches, that go from Narita and Haneda, Tokyo's two airports, to hotels, but on the day we landed, the Haneda to our hotel option wasn't working, so we used the subway. Downloading a Pasmo app is really good, and then you can add money to it. I couldn't do that with my Visa card for some reason, but I did with a Revolut card. And then you can just top it up as you go around. Super easy to use. The Japanese subway is always on time. They're legendary for it, and it is fantastic. Google Maps will tell you exactly what way to go. It's really handy. It'll tell you what end of the platform to get, what exit to use. The two worked flawlessly, the Pasmo app with my Google Maps. I had a choice of 4 stations around the hotel. There seems to be lots of different options. You'll sort of see loads of different ways of going around the subway. It's big, it's complicated, but it's super easy to use once you're used to it, and that does not take very long. It's super clean, it's super efficient. On the day of the marathon, there's a free travel for runners. They give you a special card for the day, so you don't need the Pasmo app on that particular day. The signs are all in English, so it's really easy to use. And I think on the machines, they're available in different languages. Not all machines take credit cards or Western ways of payments that I have. They take cash, or it seems Japanese sort of systems. So that's where the Pasmo app is practically a must. I loved looking through the driver's window and looking at him as he's waving to different people and operating the train, but I did notice he's wearing gloves, very Japanese. Lots of people on the train were all dressed in black. Everywhere I went, black or dark colors seemed to be the thing. I stood out rather a lot in my bright yellow sweatshirt, but yeah, really enjoyed using the subway, super easy to get around. We stayed in the new Otani Hotel in the main building. It was really nice, more upscale than what I'm used to. Usually a Holiday Inn Express would do me fine. This is the only hotel I've stayed in which had its own Rolls-Royce dealership. The sockets were all American. If you're going to go to Japan, that seems to be the thing. And like a lot of Japanese restrooms, there was the amazing toilet seat, the all singing, all dancing toilet seat with all the bells and whistles and buttons. I think this one didn't have sound, didn't have a music device on it, but it had all the heating, cooling, changing angles, water jets, all that kind of stuff. The gardens of the hotel are 400 years old and are extensive. They really are very beautiful, a nice place to go and just mentally refresh before or after the marathon. There are carp, there's a waterfall. It's just a really nice place to be. And of course, when you got nice weather. The hotel is on many levels. There's lots of wedding parties. There are all sorts of things going on in this vast multi-level hotel. We traveled with Sports Tours International. I will make a completely separate and detailed video about that experience, but it was a very nice hotel to stay in, and nearby there were lots of places to get pasta and pale ale if that's your thing. We arrived on a Wednesday morning into Tokyo, checked into the hotel, and then we went down to see the Shibuya Scramble crossing, the busiest pedestrian intersection in the world, with about 500,000 people at peak crossing in a day, most of whom, like me, seem to be filming other people making the crossing. After that, it was a trip to the nearby cat cafe. Cat cafes are popular all throughout Tokyo, and there are other animal cafes. You can get snake ones, hedgehog ones, various ones, but yeah, it's the internet. So we went to the cat cafe. Thursday was a trip to the Marathon Expo. In advance, Tokyo Marathon sends you a runner's handbook. It is really comprehensive. One of the great things that they do in the Tokyo Marathon is they don't send you email after email after email. Tokyo will tell you they're going to send you a handbook in the middle of February, and the handbook will arrive by email, and everything you need to know is in it. It's 16 pages long. There is no waffle. One of the things in it is a link to the Disaster Preparedness Tokyo app. I downloaded that. I downloaded the 179-page manual that goes with it, and it is really comprehensive, and it is really well worth looking at. Everything in that manual is done because it has happened before to somebody. There are questions like, what would you do if disaster strikes and you're naked in the bath? I think I was the only person who read this because it was very memorable. It is a really good idea. I think it was one of the things that shows you the mind of Japanese people who are really prepared for these kinds of things. But yeah, read all that, was well prepared by the time I got to the Expo. We went by coach to the Expo, but the subway is so good you could have gone very easily on the metro. Went in the late afternoon. You have to provide your ID and the bib voucher that you were sent, and then you go upstairs to the packet pickup. And that's separated for runners and non-runners. The runners go in to the left, and it was empty when I was there. There was almost nobody waiting. I went straight up and picked up my bib, and then I turned around where this man is walking to the right and went straight through. You have to have a timing tag, so they check that your bib is working. But for me, this whole process took about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. They tie a little wristband around you. Mine came loose. Just be very careful, because if you don't have that, you can't run. Then it was off to the ASICS stand. That was the only waiting for me. It said there was a 30-minute queue. They had a lot of the usual stuff you'd expect. And then it was across to the major sponsors. That's all on the top floor. Then you go down the escalators down to the lower ground floor, 1F, the top floor is 4F, I think. And again, really simple, very wide, lots of space. And they had all the usual stuff. It's not a big expo, but it was well organized. I went to Abbott and I went to Nike. Nike had the Streak Fly 2 and the Vaporfly 4 there that you actually pick up and hold in your hand. It was really good. And then it was back in the late evening, got to see some of Tokyo and the beautiful sunshine coming at the end of the day. On Friday morning, I headed out to the Yameneshima Stadium, an athletics track, 400 meters, to take part in the world record bid with One Tokyo, a Guinness Book of World Records attempt for the fastest marathon run by pairs in a relay. I was paired with John Higgins for the day. We had a great time. We ran 800 meters, and yeah, we got the Guinness Book of Records. There will be a detailed video to follow, but yeah, it was a highlight of this particular trip. Friday night involved a trip to teamLab Borderless, a digital art museum. Warning, there are flashing lights coming ahead. It was really great to just wander around, taking it easy after all the exertions of the world record morning. Saturday morning, the race is drawing near. I went to the Abbott World Marathon Majors Gold Club Shakeout run. I think of it as the Shakedown run at the Westin Hotel. There were some corporate presentations, not too heavy, thankfully. And then there was some warm-up, some exercise, some stretching, and yep, another yellow t-shirt. We were off for a short run around Tokyo. Today is Saturday the 1st of March 2025, and I'm running a Tokyo Marathon tomorrow. I'm in the gardens of the new Otani Hotel that I'm just spinning around. Lots of Japanese out for their Saturday afternoon stroll in these 400-year-old gardens. Things have gone well, more or less, for the marathon. The trip here has been fantastic. Although I described the course yesterday as, or in the previous video, as sort of boring, it wasn't quite the word I was looking for. Maybe unmemorable in that there's lots of really nice things, but it's not like there's a big lake and then there's houses and there's a town and there's different things that you see in some of the other marathons. A lot of it seems to be Tokyo and more Tokyo. And what Japanese people do really well is detail. I mean, if you see around me, they have just such beautiful details here. And I'm sure the marathon will be no different in that respect. I have knee worries, I have lower back worries, I have calf worries, and I have the usual mental worries of a marathon. Should be okay. I was sitting in a chair that was too low earlier on and hurt my back. That'll be fine by tomorrow. I've had a niggling knee injury. I won't be taking any tight turns, and I'll be trying to take it easy in terms of that, and that should be okay. The marathon will be hot, and it could be 22 degrees. I got sunburned yesterday. I have an extensive spreadsheet of things to bring. One of them was sun cream, but I thought the weather was going to be it wasn't looking warm and sunny, but it's now suddenly turning very warm and sunny, 22 degrees. So I went out yesterday and got quite red. It was fine. I did the 800 meters run, which I really enjoyed, for this world's fastest marathon run in pairs as a relay. It was kind of crazy, but I did all that. That was fine, and went to the Expo. I seem to find the Expo easier than most people that I know that have been here. Perhaps it was because I went early. I'll review the whole thing, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the marathon in the morning. I'm going to turn around here where hopefully you can see some of the fish and the bridge and all of those kinds of things. But yeah, I'll report back after the finish. But yeah, have a look at, I'll put this over my head and you'll get an idea of. And then the hotel itself is in the background. I got a bus to start with Sports Tours International. Here's the healthy scrum to get out of the hotel and onto the buses. Pretty soon we were there. It was fairly empty when we got there. We got there early. This is the Tokyo Metropolitan Center, the sort of central area around which the marathon start area is built. And there were lots and lots of toilets. I was surprised that the Japanese, with their reserved nature and the many things about no public urination, the toilets had, several of them had no doors, which made it super easy to use. We dropped a bag off in the bag area. A bit difficult to find this part, but everything else was very well organized and signposted. And pretty soon we were just hanging out in the pens, waiting for it to start, chatting to people who had shared experiences. The pens weren't too busy. What happens is there's really one start wave. There's no break. You start and they get all 37,500 runners across the start line in about 20 minutes or so. It really is run like clockwork, and all that nervous energy. We could watch various things happening, the various pacers coming by, including one that said sweeper, one you didn't want to really see in the race. But before long, we were heading down towards the start, which is pretty much below one of the arches, or between the arches, in the Tokyo Metropolitan Building. As we headed to the start, it was time to put away my iPhone, turn on the DJI Action 2 head camera, and begin to think of the race. Remember to start both watches. I'll do a piece to camera, which I made immediately after the race, and then I'll go through the race with all the head cam footage. But yeah, it was really, at this point in time, the excitement is, well, it's next level. So I finished the Tokyo Marathon. How did it go? Well, I'll show some B-roll here, but I loved every second of it. Despite what I thought the course would be like, I loved the course. I thought I'd hate the switchbacks where you're going out and people are coming back, but I loved them. I loved seeing the faster people go by. And then you know, you go around the other side and then you're looking at the people who are slower and realize that everybody's just having different days, but they're all sort of taking part en masse in this wonderful, huge event, and it doesn't matter who was going fast and who was going slow. It just was, I just loved it. The Japanese eye for detail is fantastic. There's lots of beautiful buildings around the place, and it was not quite what I was expecting, but it was a really wonderful marathon. The organization was unreal at the end, and throughout the race, you could see, as we came back one of the switchbacks, you could see the sweeper bus. That was the last one, and then behind them, all the cleanup trucks, all the people. It was just so well done. At the end, you came along and you were funneled so well. They gave you a plastic bag. You think, what did they give me a plastic bag for? Then you went from table to table to table, and they offered you things. One was like a hair shampoo, I think there was. There was more Pocari Sweat, which turned out to be delicious. Loved it. It was delicious. It was everywhere on the course, and there was water everywhere. The Japanese can be reserved. Not to start, there's a lot of people there, but they're not saying very much. But as you got further and further towards the end, they got more flamboyant. There was people in Super Mario costumes and doing it was like, as the marathon went on, people got more and more flamboyant. At the start, it was people who were turning up just to, I guess, watch the marathon. But at the end, it was people who had decided to do something, and they offered all sorts of amazing things. I got Coca-Cola from several people and various treats, and the volunteers are amazing. So many people are thanking you and bowing and doing all those kind of things. That, I mean, I love Japan. I love the Japanese sort of way of doing things, but it was just so well organized. I ran okay. I mean, the second half, it's really hot, and the second half did me in, and I was just trying to get, you know, the fifth medal, and I really did enjoy myself. The exertions of doing the 800 meters to get this bonkers Guinness Book of Records last week was, yeah, that probably took a certain amount out of me. But I'll go through aspects of the race. I did use a little helmet cam or a DJI Action 2, and I did take some pictures on my iPhone. And I'll go through and do voiceover of some of the things. But yeah, this would be one of the favorite marathons I've done. I knew Japan would be wonderful, but I was surprised at just how well organized everything was, from how you dropped off your bag, and they were in these little trolleys, and then that trolley was at the end. It was just. And we were back in the hotel. We got a coach back from Sports Tours International. I'm not sure what time I finished the marathon, but 10 minutes later, there was a coach back and took about 10 minutes. We were back here in no time. Party tonight. And yeah, I said I'll narrate now and then we'll wrap up. To give a quick overview of the course, you start in Shinjuku at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Office. You head eastwards for 5 kilometers before skirting around the Imperial Palace and coming on the first of your switchbacks near 10 kilometers. You then head south. You pass a finish. There's a 10.7k race as well. And then you head out into a very long series of switchbacks with the 15 kilometers. You can see the temple at Kaminariman Gate from quite a distance. You turn around there, you get a beautiful view of the Tokyo Skytree before turning down to cross the bridge over the river. And then you go over the bridge at 20 kilometers. I found this the hardest part, mentally getting down to the 25k, knowing you're coming back to the bridge. That was when I had to really put my effort in. You turn down in the southern point and work your way back up towards the bridge, and you're passing lots of people. The road is very wide at this point. You pass the bridge, and then again you go down. There's people going in both directions. You're going past the 30k, and before the 35k you're turning south, and you'll see the people who are already finishing, and then you go on your loop back past 40k, and then on that long beautiful avenue that you go along before you turn left to a relatively short finishing straight. The race started at 10 past 9. We got through about 20 past 9. It was surprising, but great to both see and hear the electric guitars. There was a great buzz at the start. The Tokyo Marathon advised against overtaking or slowing down at the start. It was very ordered. You can see everybody's pretty much running at the same pace. For the most part, the roads in the Tokyo Marathon are very wide, occasionally with a median like this that some people were skipping over, but it was quite a wide course. We hit the first aid station at 5 kilometers. And you can see here a guy cut in front of me. This happened repeatedly. Young men running as if they all started at the back and then cut everybody through. One of those things you have to deal with on a marathon. This is the aid station at about 7 kilometers. You can see there are numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. to the side tables. These correspond to your bib, and you're kind of supposed to stop in a regular order. Most people didn't. You can see a lot of the big bins that are beside the course at the aid stations. It was great. They're really wide, really easy to deposit. Your cups, the cups are then sorted. The Pocari Sweat and the water cups are sorted by the staff, and they are turned all into toilet paper, the recycling to toilet paper. There are 15 aid stations on the course. All of them have water, and every second one has some Pocari Sweat, and then they have a variety of things: pickled plum, chocolate, sweet jellied azuca bean paste, cream-filled roll, calorie mate jelly, glucose, salty candy, doll-shaped pancake, and sponge. The sponge is an actual water sponge rather than a cake, all available at different points in the marathon. And all of this is printed in the runner's handbook. Before the Tokyo Marathon started, I thought I was going to hate these switchbacks. In the end, I loved them. I kept looking forward to them. You can see I'm running in the middle of the road. A bit tricky. Sometimes people cross through the cones coming right at you, but I really liked the switchbacks. It was the first time I ran a marathon. I could actually see the people in the marathon. I could see the fast people, the slow people. Here at the hairpin bend, I had meant to make a wide turn. You can see why I didn't, but I didn't have any injuries on the day, no knee worries in the end. But you could see, first of all, when you came up, the faster people going by, and then you could see, I guess, the slower people coming along, and it made you feel part of this wonderful, huge event. For the first time, I watched a marathon that I was actually in, and spent a lot of my time just looking at different people's jerseys. And here you can see the fast pacers are coming. So again, you're looking at people at varying speeds. We passed all sorts of people. At this point in time, some people swung right across in front of me to photograph the lead runners. But yeah, it's the first time I'd actually seen lead runners in a marathon that I was actually in. And it added to the whole drama and the enjoyment of the event. And so surprising, because it was the bit that I thought I wouldn't enjoy was the bit I enjoyed the most. This is about 18 or 19 kilometers into the race, and we're coming up to the Kaminariman Gate. There are lots of things to see on the marathon. Most of them are kind of to the side of the course, and when you look at the course view just from a head-on view, it doesn't seem as interesting as when you're on the day. There's lots of things, lots of detail in the buildings, lots of things you see down the side, off the course as it were. But here you're heading directly towards the temple. And then as you turn around, you get a beautiful view of the Tokyo Sky Tree. And this was one of the nicest stretches of the course. As you cross the Sumida River, you're about 20 kilometers in. The people on the other side are 28 kilometers, so you're aware you're running about 4 kilometers down to turn back. But I really enjoyed it. You had to concentrate in this bit. It was so easy. It started to get hot, but yeah, look at the number of people you can see just running along. It was just, I loved this particular stretch. This is about 39 kilometers in. You can see the Tokyo Tower in the background of this lovely temple and park at the start. You can see everybody's beginning to slow down, including me. This is the Abbott cheer zone of some description, but yeah, it's at the 39 kilometer point. And about this point, you can start to see that there are distance to go markers, which were very useful. 2 kilometers to go, 1 kilometer to go, that kind of thing. And yeah, you can see some very tired people on the right-hand side of these images. The Tokyo Marathon is unusual in that there is a sweeper system involved. It's a 7-hour gun time. So 7 hours behind the gun, they sweep people up. Because of the switchbacks, I was able to see this in process. I didn't film it. I didn't feel comfortable filming it. It didn't make me feel happy watching the people struggling, and behind them is a phalanx of buses and police cars and garbage trucks and all that, making the place tidy and beautiful for the Tokyo late afternoon once the marathon was over. Before too long, we were heading down the last avenue, the long, narrow avenue. I loved it. This was one of the parts of the course I really liked. It is narrower than the course in general, but that sort of made me feel like going a bit faster, and I picked up the speed nicely along here. It was time to reflect on a couple of things in the marathon. All my kit worked really well. The shoes, the socks, the vest, the shorts, they're all listed in the description, but they were all perfect. I had no GI issues, nothing. I mean, it all just ran smoothly. The toilets on the course at the start, there's lots of toilets, but once you actually start running, there are regular toilets, but they can be a little bit distant off the course. There are signs saying when the next ones are, but I could see lots of queues at them. So people are running the marathon and they're queuing for toilets. After about 20 kilometers, they seem to ease up in terms of people seem to be able to go in and out without any difficulty. But there are lots of ones at the start and there are lots of ones at the finish. It was a hot day for the marathon. It was about 20 degrees, a lot hotter than I would like for a marathon in terms of performance, but for actually a marathon that you want to run in and enjoy the crowds, it was just perfect. It was a really enjoyable day, one of my favorite days out in all of my experience of running. The atmosphere of the people was reserved but warm. The friendliness of all the volunteers. At one point in time, I slowed down. I was looking around and the marshal just said, "Are you okay?" And it was just the nicest thing to say. I was fine, but it was just, you know, there was a very nice vibe in the race. I had heard that maybe water was in limited supply after I had passed through. I don't know. It was certainly fine when I was there. All of the organization went really well. If you are running the Tokyo Marathon, my strong advice is read the handbook and read it thoroughly. Everything is in there. Everything that I wanted to find out is in the handbook. And what's great about the marathon is they send everything in one go. There's not lots of different emails trying to sell you stuff as there are in many of the other major marathons, which I'm getting deluged with now. They just send you a simple runner's handbook, tells you everything that you need to know for the Tokyo Marathon. Definitely one you should run. "42 kilometers. "42K. My Garmin says 42.6. Stride says 41.92. Finish bad. then the finish line is, you go round the corner to the left after the long, glorious avenue, and the finish line widens out, and it's, yeah, it's fairly close to the turn, and yeah, nice to just be able to speed up and cross and finish the Tokyo Marathon 2025. The finish is very clever. You cross the line and nothing much happens. They're trying to get people to move. A lot of people stop at this point and it causes chaos. But if you look at the detail, the idea is that you funnel straight forward and then you double back on yourself. And as you do, it lightens out. You can see the toilets to the left, and all this happens before you get, I guess, what you came for, your medal. And yeah, it's really wonderful the way they hand the medals out at the Tokyo Marathon.
Good job. Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Otsukaresama desu. Omedetou gozaimasu.
Having collected the toweling robe, which is beautiful, is one of the last things you collect. And then there is the baggage carousels from earlier on. And pretty soon you're out and you're on the bus back to the hotel. It was really efficient at the end how everything was in sequence. There was a long period before, so to allow the crowds the congestion to ease before you got to some toilets. There's lots of toilets to finish. Then you went and you got your medal, and then this guy gives you a plastic bag, and then you pick up all the little things that you might want. I think I took everything along the way just to see what they were. There was bath salts, there was various things. And then you work your way, and before long we were on the buses. You're segregated by color in terms to where to go. It's really well done. And we were on the buses. I was on the buses within 10 minutes of finishing, and then I was in the hotel within 10 minutes on the bus. It was, yeah, it was hyper well organized. After the race, was back to the hotel for the after run party with traditional Japanese drumming, which was fantastic. And then some traditional Japanese sport, which the crowd really got into. It was a great way to end the day. I hope you enjoyed watching this video about the Tokyo Marathon. It really is a bucket list one. I made a video about how to get into the marathon. I'm going to make a video about my experiences in running this Guinness Book of World Records marathon record that we did. That was fantastic fun. Then I'll make a video about Sports Tours International, and I'll do my usual wrap-up video. I'll fly home to Ireland tomorrow morning, which is a bit sooner than I'd like. I'd like to hang out and actually make a few more videos. So some of those that I'll make from home. But yeah, if you get a chance, yeah, come to Tokyo. Even if you don't run the marathon, it's a wonderful place to visit. The following day, Tokyo was bathed in typical Irish weather, rain. This was the monorail on the way out to the airport. It was great to have an overview of the streets of Tokyo without having to run them. If the marathon had been run in this weather, I would have run faster, if only to get to the finish line quicker. But I wouldn't have enjoyed it half as much. I was delighted we got a sunny day. Then back out at Haneda Airport, here is our outgoing plane coming in. It looks like a little toy plane in the rain, but yeah, soon heading back home. London Marathon 2025, here I come.